Hey, Patty, can you believe it's middle of the week already?
It's just a crazy fly-by week.
Must mean it's time for a
Midweek
Update! Boy, we are getting better at that. Hey, everybody, hope you had a great week last week. Welcome back to our channel. And this is our weekly episode that we call the Midweek Update, where we update you on what's been going on, talk about some topics, and today we're going to do something extra special here in just a few minutes. We're actually going to answer some of your questions that you posted for us over on our Facebook page. But before we get to that, Patty, anything exciting happened this past week for you?
Not really. Just crazy sixth graders just trying to, as I like to call it, I'm on the roller coaster and I'm just holding on. I'm not driving the coaster. I'm holding on.
And it's still early in the school year.
Yeah, you would think we're talking about at school. It's all grades because we're 5 through 8. But all the kids, a bunch of them, you would think it was March. The behaviors that we're seeing. Right. They're just doing some whacked out stuff already. And our poor administrator who deals with all that, you can't even see the top of his desk because he's got so many issues to deal with. I think he put a sign up, no more.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So they're making it interesting. Let's just put it that way. Well,
last week was the big Hershey show.
Yeah.
A lot of YouTubers went. We didn't.
No, we couldn't go, but we got to see a lot of cool video.
Yeah, absolutely. Russ and Carrie did an awesome job of vlogging every day from the show, and I love the way they were asking people for, what trailer do you want to see, and then they run over and video that trailer. And I know they have a lot more coming as far as some in-depth videos on those trailers. The daily ones are more kind of a quick walkthrough. Yep. So I'm excited about that, and I'm even more excited that Russ and Carrie are going to be here soon. So
yeah, they are.
Missing my buddy. Also, Paul, the Air Force guy. I want to mention Paul's actually coming to our Small Creator Summit. Paul does some amazing tour videos for the RV industry, and Paul was there at Hershey, and so he's put up a couple videos. So if you're looking for some reviews on videos or walkthrough tours, check out Paul, the Air Force guy's channel. And again, I'm really excited to be hanging out with him next weekend at our Small Creator Summit.
That's right.
So, like I said, a lot of YouTubers. I know Lou, RV Habit was there.
Right.
And then obviously some of the big channels were there, like Traveling Robert was there, the RV Lifestyle. So yeah, just a lot of people there. I wish we could have been there. Maybe next year. Yeah. We may just go ahead and kind of pencil that in for next year and plan around.
It'd be fun because last year we worked a lot, and then maybe go this time for fun.
Yeah, this time we might do more like a Russ and Carrie if we go and really just go and dig in. Now, one thing I do want to mention, because we might have caused some rumors to start to fly, and so I want to just clarify real quickly, because I've received some private messages and things like that from people. First of all, we are not at this point looking to change RVs.
Nope.
So I've had a few people reach out to me saying, hey Patrick, what is going on with you guys? And I guess there's two things that made us spark this. Number one, Russ was asking for suggestions and I responded to one of his posts and said, hey Russ, will you go check out the Airstream base camp for me? Now, I wasn't asking him to go check it out for me because I want to buy one.
Right, we're just curious.
Yeah, and one of our viewers on Instagram was in a Tab 400. She's now in a base camp, and I just kind of want to see it. And then the other one I'd asked for was the Intech Soul, which really does interest me. Yeah. And again, one of the reasons I wanted to see that was I've had a few people message me wanting to know if I knew anything about it, which I didn't really, other than Randy and I had toured the smaller version, which I can't remember, the Luna, I think it was, when we were with Randy up in Minnesota. So anyway, so that was one thing that I think triggered it. And then the second thing was I actually unsubscribed from some of the Tab groups on Facebook. But it has nothing to do with us getting a new RV. It just has to do with... One of the reasons, I have had people ask me, like, how come we never see you comment in forums?
Well, there's
sometimes
some negativity.
And that's what it is. First of all, there's a lot of people on those forums and those groups that answer those questions long before I could ever get in to answer them. But the other night, I just saw some negativity, and there has been
some rudeness,
and I'm just tired of it. And quite frankly, I got enough of that to deal with on a daily basis in my life. I don't need to come home and open up Facebook and seeing people, just in my opinion, being nothing but rude to other people. And I'd had it, and I unsubscribed. So I think between those two things, though, people were like, "Oh my God, he just disappeared from
ship.
4." Yeah, no, that's not it. The whole forum thing is really just, as far as the Facebook forums, I'm out of those because I'm just tired of the negativity. I don't like the way people are talked to. I just don't understand. I don't think you have to be rude to people. I think you can answer questions without being rude. Anyway, so no, we're not changing trailers. At least not right now.
No. Carl's just too good now. We got him all fixed. He's all good.
Now, I did jokingly say to Russ the other day on the phone that I may be forced to buy a motorhome before Alaska, jokingly, because I said Michael and Tiffany from RVDM, by the way, congratulations, guys, just ordered a Tiffin Allegro. And I said to Russ, I go, if I park between you two with your big rigs, I'm never going to get any solar with my little Tab 400.
For the Alaska
so I joked, but no, I don't. No. First of all, we can't afford a Tiffin or any, or Boone. Those are both out of our price range. So anyway, all right, so let's get right into this. So what I did was, on Monday, we put up our recap video from our Summer of Sunday tour. Sorry, guys, I know that one was a long one. It was like 33 minutes.
It was longer than we thought.
I did edit it down to 25 to make it more manageable. And I think the people who watched that were the people who really wanted to know about the behind the scenes. So today I said, what questions didn't we answer that you wanted to know? And I did this on the Facebook page. And so we're going to go through and answer some of these. Our friend Joyce says, where did you grocery shop in the Grand Teton Yellowstone area, and how many days of food prepping ahead? They're actually planning a 2.5-week trip where they're going to start in Nashville, Tennessee, and go to the Yellowstone Grand Teton in 2020. And it says, we will be cooking at our tab most of the time, and is there any restaurant suggestions? Well, this year we didn't eat at any, well, I take that back. In the Tetons, we didn't eat at any restaurants. We cooked the whole time.
Well, and we, even the last time we went to the Grand Tetons, we stopped, where was that? Rawlings?
Yeah, so
Walmart?
So that's what I was going to say is we stopped. So your first answer to where do you grocery shop? I don't know what route you're coming, but if you're coming in on I-80, you're going to get off at Rawlings, and there's a Walmart there. And so both times we stopped at that Walmart.
To supply.
Yes.
Before heading to the Grand Tetons, because we knew there wasn't a lot.
Right. Now, if I
we saw Landers.
In Landers, which is closer, there was
a little grocery store there.
There was a Safeway.
And something like that. And I know you went to the Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
But there's some little shops and little stores in that little town.
Right.
That if you needed something.
But if you want a Walmart to resupply, Rawlings coming in off I-80 is where we've stopped both times to resupply. But yeah, Landers, I think it was maybe a Safeway there, grocery store.
Sure.
And those are nice grocery stores. So you could stop in Landers, again, if you're coming in that route. I would definitely try to supply before you get there, because even if you decide to go down to Jackson Hole, because we did that 3 years ago, but it was very pricey.
Yeah, expensive grocery store.
Same way up in West Yellowstone. Anything you buy is going to be more pricey. Now, as far as restaurants, off the top of my head, I can't think, because this year we did eat in West Yellowstone. We ate at
a pizza place.
And
we ate at that really cool kind of Buffalo bar or something it was called.
So, Joyce, I can get you that before summer, but hopefully that answers.
We didn't do a lot of eating out when we were in that area. We did a lot of cooking in. So.
And typically, she asked, like, how many days do we prep for? I would say we usually had enough food for 4 to 5 days. 4 to 5 days, maybe. You know, one of the limitations on the Tab 400 is space. And especially in the freezer refrigerator.
Well, in this summer we were battling our fridge.
Yeah.
So we had to go to a cooler, and so then you're tighter space that way. You can't have frozen meat or anything like that.
I think we normally would have maybe once we went to the cooler. I think I never had more than maybe 3 days or 4 days worth of meat. But thing is, we can sometimes do meals without meat. We do like pasta dishes and that stuff we could carry. So
don't knock that over,
sissy. Next question. Comes from us from our friends, the Great Family Escape.
All right.
Luke says, what was the most frustrating part of the trip?
I think there's 2 things, and it's based on Carl. One, the Aldi system, how we had issues with keeping hot water, and 2, the refrigerator. That's what I would think in my head. And it was based on Carl and the equipment in Carl that kind of broke down on us this summer.
I would have to agree with you. I was trying to think, was there anything else? But I would say when I was most frustrated, I guess that's the way Luke says it, And it's funny because Sally Richardson, let me read this real quick.
Okay.
Her question was, what was something new you learned about your tab on this trip? So this is going to kind of tie in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing we learned new also became a frustration.
Yep.
And that is, we love our Aldi system, but the problem with the Aldi is when the Aldi goes down, you're not just losing your heater, you're losing your water heater. So you lose two major appliances or components all at one time.
Yep, done.
And so that was something we had never considered really. And so that's definitely something we learned. So hopefully that answers Sally's question.
Right.
But and I'll be honest, that was frustrating. The refrigerator was the really frustrating one.
Yeah, once we figured out the Aldi, and we really didn't need heat. And then
No, the heat wasn't an
Then we kind
issue.
of figured it out, and we got
water
a little
heater.
help in Oregon, and we got the glycol that we needed. We were able to have hot water. We figured that out. We knew what to do there. But the refrigerator took us back to the trailer.
It just felt like it was like deja vu all over
If you've watched our channel, you know we had issues with the other trailer and the refrigerator. I can just remember the moment at Deception Pass, beautiful Deception Pass, we decided we're cleaning out that fridge because it was just starting to heat up, and we just put stuff in there, and we thought it was going to work, and nope. So we just took it all out.
Yeah.
Done.
Bad memories. Thanks, Luke. Thanks for bringing that up, Luke. I'm joking. Yeah, and the Aldi was a little frustrating, but
well.
But I feel like with the Aldi, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can pass some of that along to other people. You know, like,
right.
Again, I feel like, and this is, it's so easy to forget to check the glycol.
It is, because you just
but
don't think
you
about
almost
it.
need to check that every time you go out, or if you're on a long trip, you need to like check it every week.
Often, just check it.
And because ultimately that's what it was. And we think the issue, luckily it was not a leak this time.
No, thank goodness.
We think it had to do with it being on continuous and the pump speed being way too high. We thought it was the high altitude.
No,
but
I think it was something else. So, yep.
Okay.
All right. What else?
And finally, April, our friend April. Hey, April and Tommy. First of all, she says, "Is it wet or underwater when it rains?"
Okay.
Then she goes, "Seriously though, I'm curious about how much propane you used on the trip." And that's the first question. So we'll answer.
I don't remember you having to.
I did. So I refilled. And here's the thing, and Steve and Karen are going to laugh at me. I totally forgot that we had the Mopica tank.
Yes.
And so I remember being at the KOA at Mount St. Helens.
Okay.
And I thought,
oh, that's right.
I thought, I'll bet this, I don't know how much is in the tank. Why I didn't turn the app on and check it.
Well, that was kind of a frustrating day.
So I ended up filling it, but it was only half full, they told me.
Right.
Or half empty.
Sure.
And that was through, when you think about, when we were at Mount St. Helens, we had to be at least 4 weeks into the trip, I think. Mm-hmm. So then I did fill it there, but it only took half. And then when we got home, there was still half left. So we probably went through about 1 20-pound propane cylinder over the course of 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And there was a couple weeks there towards the end where I had bought the adapter for the Blackstone.
Right.
So I was pulling the tank off the trailer.
To cook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The great thing is we don't use that much propane, especially in the summer, because the only things we were using propane for was water, to heat water, if we were not plugged into electricity, and the little 2-burner stove.
Right.
And then, like I said, towards the end, I was pulling the tank for the Blackstone. So.
Yeah.
And then her second question is, how many times did you have to dump, and did you have to pay? I don't know how many times we dumped.
No, but there were a few times we had to pay. And some we were able to find free.
The most we ever paid, I think, was $10.
I think so. That was kind of crazy.
So here was kind of what because we did a lot of dry camping this summer. In fact, I was looking today, we did 8 consecutive nights of, quote, dry camping. And so while we were on stretches like that, my general rule of thumb was I would look on Allstays, and if I could find a free dump station, even if it was only one night, we would go to that dump station, because you take dump stations when you can get them.
And then we were very lucky out west. A lot of the states out west,
rest areas
they have the free dump stations for you.
Right.
And we got very lucky. We learned that, and then we would just be looking, like you say, even if it wasn't needed to be dumped, we dumped it. just because to keep it fresh and ready to go.
All right, I think that's all the questions. Those are
Cool.
excellent questions from our summer vacation. So if you have more questions, feel free to drop them in our Facebook page post, and then I'll just answer them on there for you or attempt to answer them. So, all right, I think that's going to do it for us for this week. Everybody have a great weekend this weekend, and until next time, we'll see you.
On down the road.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, buddy.
Come here, Truman. You want to say hi to everybody?
Come here, Bessie Bear.
Say hi.
Come here, sissy.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Look at your bone in a second.
You were such a good boy during this recording.
See, Daddy, I got knocked on his head.
It didn't talk.